So, as the title of the video suggests, I want to share some of the things I've learned about drawing in public. It's been about 6 months since I got back into the habit of drawing regularly in a sketchbook again, and as I've really been enjoying it, I wanted to share some of the things I'd learned along the way. Hopefully it'd be encouraging or helpful for anyone else who's interested in taking their sketchbook out into the big wide world. So equipment-wise, the first thing you'll need is a sketchbook. There's lots of different sizes and types, but I'll just mention the ones that I use. All of my current sketchbooks are from the C. White of Brighton company or brand. So I use 2 different types. The first are these 2. Both of these are A5 sketchbooks with 40 pages or 20 sheets in each. I personally love these as they're lightweight and easily fit into my bag, so I'm more likely to take them out and about with me. The second is this travel journal. So this is one that I saw in one of my art books, so it's my most recent one, and I've only had a chance to take it out a couple of times. But so far, I'm loving it. It's a great size and layout, and the hardback cover means it's pretty sturdy. It also has this handy little ribbon to mark your last page. I'd also recommend getting a pencil case. It just means holding any of your pens, pencils, brushes, whatever bits you're using makes it easier. Currently, I'm drawing with either this mechanical Bic HB pencil or just a standard 2B pencil for sketching. And then for any inking, I tend to use either Derwent's graphic line makers or Unipin fine liners. The other pen that I use pretty much every time I go out is this Pentel brush sign pen. I got this from a friend actually, and it's probably my favourite pen to draw with. And finally, I'd recommend this trusty old Winsor & Newton watercolour deluxe sketches pocket box. So I've had this one since college and I've got no complaints. Really easy to use, you can create a nice variety of colours, and most importantly it's a good size for taking out and about. Almost forgot, these refillable watercolour brush pens. These are super handy and you can get them from pretty much any art shop. So there are lots of great places to draw, but for someone who's just starting out or is not as confident, I'd suggest going to a museum or gallery. There are lots of things to see and draw. They tend to be in a nice chilled environment as well, and you often see other artists doing the same sort of thing. So yeah, I love a museum or gallery. Then there's coffee shops, perfect place to people watch and get some practice drawing people without them moving around too much. So if you want to do studies of people, coffee shops always a great place to try out. Libraries, same sort of vibe to museums and galleries, I feel. I tend to go to them so I can do studies from art books, so slightly different thing to some of the other places on this list. Also, they're free. Yeah, I love going to a library. Support your local library or they'll disappear. And then a big one I'd say is getting out in nature. So whether that's a forest, park, the seaside or the coast, there's so much variety of where you can go, and exploring during different seasons as well, so you can see how the landscape changes. Positives for getting out in nature as well, it tends to be quiet and you can draw or paint in relative privacy for a public place, and everywhere you go is going to be different as well. You're never going to see the same thing twice. And then other places that I particularly enjoy going would be castles, old houses, ruins, that sort of thing, and they tend to have really interesting structures to the buildings, so obviously from a different time period to present. Here in the UK we have the National Trust and English Heritage, so they own and look after these properties, so you can always check out their website for places near you. So I'm kind of 50-50. Half the time when I'm going out to draw, I'm going with other people, and then the other half the time I'll go on my own. If you're sort of new to drawing and maybe you don't want to be on your own, or you don't feel comfortable going on your own, you could always join an urban sketching club. They seem to be quite like a wide thing. I know there's a few local to me. I haven't been to one of the groups yet. I went to a class where they were sort of like teaching the fundamentals of it, and that was super interesting. And that was sort of at the beginning of my time getting back into drawing in public, drawing out and about. And yeah, or just going out with other people. That could be like a friend, a family member. Just sometimes having that extra person with you gives you that boost in confidence to start. I also find, like, for myself, I think it's like a really good way to record where you've been, what I've done. It's like a sort of a way of journaling, but with images. So like last year I went to Yorkshire, and the year before that I went to Edinburgh, and on both trips I had a sketchbook with me. So I was sort of sketching when I was out and about, or when I got back in the evening, I'd do it as a more of a journal entry with a bit of like text as well. And then when I look back in these sketchbooks, I could be like, oh yeah, on this day I did such and such, or I saw this thing. I think as well, like if you sort of want to learn the fundamentals, it's just a great exercise just to get out with a sketchbook and draw.